Hi everyone, this is Jan, and what I wanted to share with you today is how I go about deciding what I'm going to paint once I've finished a workshop. So yesterday I took a Donna Dewberry tropical workshop, and we did some of these tropical, they're just on cardstock here, ideas, and I wanted to turn it into a painting. So you can see that's leaves. This is the hibiscus. And then we did orchids. And there is more orchids and leaves. And so what I wanted to do was turn it into a painting. So what I did first was I just got a regular piece of paper, drew off a rectangle, because that's what I'm using on the canvas, and I was trying to decide what type of leaf I wanted to start with first. So one of the leaves I knew I wanted to do, and that was because they were easy for me to do, and I knew I wouldn't have any problems with them, because I haven't done any tropical paintings before. So I knew I wanted to have this leaf draped over to the corner, because I wanted the eye to go over to here, and then I wanted it to go over into that corner too. I wanted to do a complete circle here. So I went ahead and took school chalk, just regular school chalk, after I painted my canvas black. That's what I did first, was paint the canvas black. Then I went ahead and sketched this out. So I have this leaf here coming across here as my first leaf that I'm going to do on this. Then I have two banana leaves, which are going to go down here. I have a bird of paradise, which is here, and I have two hibiscus. So we're going to start painting on what's in the background first. And this leaf is under the flowers, and I want to start with that, and it just kind of warms you up on your strokes, that sort of thing. My flowers are what's going to be put in last. I will put in the hibiscus last, the bird of paradise. So I'm going to do these two leaves, and then the bird of paradise, and then the hibiscus. But I wanted to show you how you go about doing your design, and that's what works for me. It's just an idea, because a lot of times we do the workshops and then we don't do anything with the workshop. We just have little samples done on paper, and we don't do a painting with them. And sometimes that's how you learn how to compose your own paintings. So that's the whole purpose of this class. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and get my palette ready here, and I have some teal. That might be aqua. Let's see, what color is that? That's the aqua. This is the thicket, and this is greenscape. And I have floating medium. And what I'm looking for is, I'm looking for a mid-tone green, because I'm going to add, I like this teal color mixed in with the green. That's what I like. I think it's pretty. And I want to try that out first. So I'm loading my brush. I'm putting a little bit of float on it. I might want these transparent. So I'm going to make the vein first. And I'm really trying to see how much this is going to show up on my canvas. Now I'm going to go on the vein. I'm going to push, come down. Okay, I'm going to go on the vein again. Flatten the brush down, pull down. Now I don't always want the aqua color. Let's do a few of them that aren't that color. So I start on the vein on a chisel, do another chisel, flatten out, and pull back up to a chisel as you're draping off this way. These up here, I'm going to start on the tip, come down, and pull right into, let's go this direction here. There we go. Now what I want you to do is to alternate your color with the greenscape on some of them, and then the aqua color on some of the other leaves. I'm going to go ahead and complete mine, and then I will come back and show you what it looks like completed. So now I've done the top part and one of the banana leaves down here. Let me show you the top part. I'll pull this down. So I got the, almost looks like a palm leaf. And I used aqua, thicket, and greenscape. Now on this banana leaf, I'm using sap green, citrus green, and daffodil yellow with little highlights of some of the aqua, but I'm going to highlight these after they're done and after I get my flowers in, because I want some of the highlights, same highlights that I put in my flowers. So I'm using a 16 flat here. And the first thing that I did was I painted my leaf in with the sap green and some floating medium. So I'm just taking some sap green and pulling it out. Here's a floating medium. Just mix it in. I'm going to start at the top here. And I'm just going to outline the leaf. That gets rid of the chalk part there. Because the chalk, you want it to not be there. Okay, so fill it in pretty thick. You don't want it real thin, you want it pretty thick, because I'm going to come back and we're going to overstroke that with some yellows and some other colors, and I don't want it to dry really fast. I've got a fan on in here, so I have to work pretty fast. I don't want it to dry on me. It's okay if it's a little bit tacky. And it'll depend on what area you're in as to your drying time. Alright, that looks pretty tacky. So now I'm going to pick up a little bit of the citrus green, and I'm just going to start pulling in with the citrus. I'm going to have to work back and forth here. I want that more rounded look. I'll find where my areas are that I pulled out. So I don't cover those up. There's one right there. Here's another one right here. I can load color on, pull in. Here's another one right here. Now I'm just going to lay the color on, and then I'll come back and I'll blend it. I even probably pick up a bigger brush, except when I'm up at the top here. But you want to get this color blended in before it dries. Now sometimes if you're wanting to do a little bit of a dry blend, like getting rid of that paint right there, lay your brush almost flat, and dry blend it. Just lay it flat and barely touch that. And you can get, if your paint is tacky underneath or starting to tack up, you'll get this dry look. And you can use that on barns and your leaves, flowers, anything you want. If you want it to look like terracotta or something like that, it's a dry brush blend. And you just barely touch your canvas like that. And you're getting, like if I wanted to dry brush that paint right there, flip the brush over and barely touch that, and you'll get the little scooting marks there, the dry look. But your paint has to be really tacky, in the tacky stage. See, like what it's doing there? You can do mountains. If your paint's too wet, it's just going to scoot with you, and it won't do that. So you have to, sometimes you have to wait for it to get tacky. I'm going to come back over with some dark there. See, I can scoot some dark on that too. So you just kind of play with it, and you'll reach a point to where you can't do that anymore because it's all dry. But if you put your paint on thick enough, this thing is fatter down here than it is at the tip, so we have to whiten it a little bit. Now I want it to show up over here against this leaf. So I want this to be brighter. So for brighter, I'm going to use a yellow down here. I want that one to show up. This area right here. There we go. Now it does have, I want to start these little lines before it gets too dry on me. Well, that looks going in the wrong direction there. It does have lines in it. From what I saw in the photos I was looking at. You know, your internet's the greatest source for finding out whatever you're painting. Just look it up on the internet under images, Google it, and you will get all kinds of images, and just look at them. It'll show you what you need to paint or what it looks like. I didn't know these had so many lines in them until I saw them on the internet. Pictures of them. But they do. They have all kinds of small lines in them. Right, that's the opening there. That's the opening there. Now the only thing I can do before it starts to set up is if I want to add a little aqua, and I think I might. This dry brush a little awkward. And my flowers are going to go up there, and I don't really want to cover up my... Now, I'm dry brushing this on. See how it's pulling? My brush is flat. Barely touching this. That's the yellow. See how I'm just dry brushing that on? It works really good if your paint's just starting to tack up. I don't think I'll do anything up here because I'm going to have a flower. But I haven't decided if I'm doing 1 or 2 flowers, so... You know, I change my mind sometimes in the middle of doing a painting. I might think I'm going to put 2 flowers and I end up doing 1 big one or something because I don't want to cover up something that I did. So, that might happen to you too. Oops, that's going in the wrong direction. Okay, so I think I'm finished on that banana leaf and that banana leaf. And if it's dry, I can always come back and I can always float on other colors on here because I want to put colors like the colors that are in my hibiscus colors. Let's see if I can pull that hibiscus out. Yes. So you can see, well, I could put that a hibiscus up there and put another one right down here. But if I'm doing the pink and the orangey color, I think I would want to highlight a little bit of the pink up in here and over here. So I'll have to decide if I want to cover up that leaf, banana, the top of the leaf here. So I could actually add 2. I was going to have them a little bigger, but maybe I don't want them a little bigger. I'll just have to think about it. So that's what I'll do. So anyway, there's your banana leaf, and I will come back. And I think we might start the hibiscus. So see you in a little bit. Okay, for the top flower, we're going to use magenta and white. I've already done 1 petal for you, and I'm using a 3/4 inch flat brush. I want the white on the outside, so we're just going to do our wiggle stroke. Flatten that brush down so that it spreads out those bristles. Come right on around until you filled in your area and then come back down. Now I'm using the back end to fill that in because we can come back and we're going to add some darks to that. My concern is just the outside edge there right now and filling in the middle part. Load my brush up again. Now you can turn your canvas. And that's what I like to do when I'm doing these. This one is way down here. See, I'm looking at the outside edge there. And come right on down. Do that edge again. Let me turn this the other way. Hang on. I have to get it going in the right direction here. Okay, so here we go. Didn't know how much this would even show up on this black. Okay, might be. Yes, we can do that one. And we're going to come back and we're going to add color in that. Now you're doing all the back petals. Swoop down. See how I'm moving the outside edge, and I have the back of the brush is pretty much stationary. Bring out paint there. Now let's redo that. Make it a smoother transition here. Scoot back up. There we go. A little bit. It does that. And it wants to come up. Just let it tack up. There we go. Okay, now we'll do this one. Sometimes if you overload your brush, it will do that. That's where the corners are overloaded. Let's see. Let's go this direction. So here's your center right here. Way up there. I'll pick that up. Run out paint. Pick that up where I left off. There, that one turned out. Sometimes it won't. But I don't want, excuse me, don't want those little streaks in there, so let me blend out my brush a little bit here so I have a smoother. There we go. Just a little smoother. Now all of these ridges, what I'd like to do, let's fatten those up and get rid of them. There we go. Don't mind some ridges, but there we go. This is the front part of your flower. That's going to be the back part of the flower. Okay, so what you'll do is you'll do each one of these. Now this one here we are going to do in, I think I'm going to use, I want pink in the middle and yellow on the outside. I'm going to do that one in that color. And then I'll decide what color I want for this one. So I'm going to go ahead and do this one, and I'll be right back to show you what it looks like. Okay everyone, I pretty much finished this little painting that we have for Tropical Hibiscus. And I got all my petals in for my flowers. I'll go over some of the colors here that I used. This flower in here, you have a little bit of magenta, highlighted with a little bit of orange, some yellow. The dark colors are going to be deepened with some dioxine purple. This one was magenta with white, and then I came in with dioxine purple and deepened the center part here. This one down here is pink, magenta, a little bit of yellow with white, highlighted some edges with white with yellow. Came down here, I could come back and deepen this just a little bit down here. I added more of the green leaves over here, And in here, added some on the bottom here. These are just your regular one-stroke leaves here. These are little ferns that we did in our class. Those are, you can do it with a liner brush, or you can do it with a angle brush here. Anything with a sharp point. I came back in and highlighted a little bit up here in a little bit of aqua and white so that I could get a little bit of a turn leaf there. Came back in, we did the centers. The centers have a little bit of yellow right here, and then you have your stamen stem, a little bit of thin lines with white, and then a little dots of yellow. And the stamens are pretty long on the hibiscus. Add a little bit of back petal on the back of this flower. This flower is facing down. I came back in and toned down some of the background here on the banana leaves. I didn't want the banana leaves to be the star of this painting. I want the flowers to stand out. So I toned those down, and anytime you have an area that's too bright and you want to tone it down, just pick up a little bit of your dark color. I used Sap Green mixed with some floating medium, and then did a glaze on top of what I had, and it toned it right down. So that's how you would tone down if you have an area that's too bright. Now, a lot of times people ask me, well, how do you know when you're finished with a painting? And I always look at it like, well, when I don't know what else to do with it, it's finished. You can always come back maybe a couple of weeks later if you see something that you want to add to it. You can come back and add to it all you want to. But I like to look at it and see if there's anything else I want to piddle around with it. So anyway, thank you for joining me in this short lesson. Make sure that you like and comment and share and subscribe. That allows me to remain on YouTube and continue doing these little paintings to help you out in your little venture in painting. So with that in mind, thank you very much, and I'll see you next time. Bye.